Built Better, the podcast for home improvement contractors by Modernize Home Services.
Welcome to Built Better, a podcast by Modernize Home Services, where we explore and highlight trends and topics around contractor marketing. I'm Don Pucci, Director of Account Management, and your host. As always, by my side is co-founder of Modernize, Chris Pallatroni. Today, we're diving into our latest homeowner surveys on this episode of the Built Better podcast. We're discussing the dynamic shift in homeowner project preferences and pain points. We'll explore how homeowners are preparing and budgeting for their upcoming projects and finding their preferred professional. These findings are designed to help professional contractors and remodelers better understand and serve prospective customers. With us today to discuss these findings is Cassie Morien, Modernize's Senior Content Strategist and Lead Homeowner Insights Analyst. Cassie, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really pumped here to learn more about your latest survey results.
Fabulous people, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to talk about this data.
I know you are. You're always excited, and that's one of the things I love about you so much. Not only your fabulous hairstyle and fashion choices, but the fact that you bring so much good data to the table. And let's be honest, we're data nerds here at Modernize, so it's always a good thing to talk to you. So
we are. I fit in well with this team. I'm going on 3 years, and I'm forever thankful. So thanks for letting me be my weird, authentic self.
Absolutely, I wouldn't have it any other way. So let's dig in. Let's talk to me just a little bit more about, I guess, how the process works. So you survey Modernize homeowners monthly, weekly, daily?
Yeah, I would love to share a little bit more about this. We have the ability to survey thousands of Modernize homeowners each week, and really that breaks down to every day as they begin their projects and start their journey. So the results that I'm coming in to share with you today are brand new. We ran these surveys between January and May 2021, and we have completed survey data from more than 20,000 homeowners across the United States as they're beginning to pursue a range of projects. So again, like a mountain of data, which I'm excited to share. This survey is really notable for Modernize, and why I'm extra enthusiastic to share is because our last annual survey, which came out in 2020, was primarily conducted between November 2019 and March 2020. We asked a few questions in April, but really the bulk of these homeowner answers from last year's survey were collected before the devastating effects of this pandemic was fully realized. And so this new survey allows us to really clearly compare homeowner preferences and how they've shifted and changed during this really turbulent year. And our goal is that these are really helpful to our contractors and remodelers and professionals as they begin to plot and plan and strategize their marketing efforts and sales efforts for the rest of 2021.
Awesome. So let's dig into that a little bit more too, I guess. Can you give us kind of, I've seen this ebook, so it's great. Can you give us a little bit more of an idea of kind of the stats on upcoming behavior that you expect from homeowners that you've kind of gleaned from that?
Absolutely. So starting in December, we started surveying our homeowners in 3-month increments to just see what their very near-term project plans are. So in December and January, we did a really quick homeowner survey to say, what projects are you going to do in the next 3 months? How much money are you planning on spending? And we ran this again in March ahead of the quarter we're in now and are able to compare those results. So we'll do this again actually at the end of this month, looking forward, and we'll publish all of that. So what's notable right now, literally today, is that in addition to their current modernized project, 41% of homeowners signaled that they plan to make additional home improvements this quarter. And while that is wonderful, this is actually even up further from January, where 38% of homeowners said they were going to complete additional projects. So we followed up and said, what do you plan to do? And 33% of these homeowners pursuing additional projects are going to seek indoor remodeling projects. And obviously that's highest for kitchen remodel and bathroom remodel and these really appealing interior trades. Another 27% of homeowners said that they'll pursue some outdoor projects. And we asked like patio and pool, which makes sense, right? A lot of people are going to be outside as they have friends and family over. And that's where we're seeing right now.
Yeah. So it seems like homeowners they're planning projects more so than even like 3 months ago, based on my read of this. So
yes, that is
I guess
correct.
they're adjusting to life after the pandemic right now. I mean, and the boom has already been incredible right now.
It has. And I think there's been a lot of chatter going into this year as restrictions begin to relax to say, like, how are homeowners going to respond? Where are they going to put their money? And all of our trends, and as we discuss, are saying that homeowners are going to continue to invest in their homes, which remain our sanctuaries. And I have a little bit more data that I alluded to on like pricing that I can like briefly go into, which is probably helpful for a contractor audience to know. So
Yes.
This period right now, we learned 83% of homeowners are planning to spend $10,000 or less on their upcoming projects, which is no little chunk of change. And another 11% are going to invest even more at $15,000. So I think that's really promising. Also, I want to note that around the pandemic, surveying about the pandemic, we also found some interesting information of how homeowners have been responding over the past 12 months. So we were talking about looking ahead. We're going to look behind a little bit. So we know COVID impacted everyone, every household in some way and differently. So we asked how many home improvement projects homeowners pursued over the past year, like primarily in 2020. And 21% of our homeowners said they pursued more home improvement projects than they originally planned. And another 21% said they delayed projects or were hesitant to start just because of the pandemic. And I think that's where, as we continue to see demand, we continue to see homeowners signaling that they want to pursue more projects. As things begin to settle down and we begin to feel more confident with our health and our spending, I expect that is going to continue, that homeowners are going to invest in their homes.
What it made me think of, Cassie, is when we last did this survey, there was a particular company we work with in the Midwest, and he got an opportunity to look through this content, and he was really complimentary to this, and he felt it was incredibly insightful for both his marketing and his sales team. When I look at this data, what I think about is, how do you leverage this data if you're a contractor? How do you apply this to your business? And one of the first things that kind of pops to my mind, and I'd love your guys' feedback, is I look at it from a sales perspective first, because I think so many times in companies, salespeople, they lose sight of the ball with a particular homeowner. They don't think they're serious. Maybe they don't think they have money. I don't know, something of that. And I see stats like this, and it just constantly reaffirms the fact that like there are so many people out there looking to hire and spend a lot of money on a project. And so if I could see stats, something of 20,000 surveys, which would take years for an individual contractor to accumulate that much content or that much information, like that's pretty potent for a sales team to kind of dangle in front and say, like, there's an audience out there. It's your job to connect those dots. Don't buy the excuses. If you don't sell, this is more on you than them not wanting it or not having the ability to do it. And I'd be curious, like from your guys' perspective, is there any other ways you think a contractor could leverage this particular data in their business?
I love that point, Chris, and thank you for bringing it up. For me, I would agree like wholeheartedly and passionately. I think a lot of this is most useful for the sales team and whoever is first interfacing with homeowners. As you both know, I have the distinct pleasure of straddling both B2B and B2C at Modernize. So I write for homeowners. I also get to write for contractors. And as I analyze this data and conduct these surveys, the thing that comes to my mind is reassuring homeowners, like speaking their language. So we're seeing trends. We're seeing like the majority of homeowners signaling certain things. And I would feel as a sales representative and as a contractor to come into a conversation armed with that and say, hey, we work with homeowners all the time, and this is what they're signaling. 56% want this. We know you're probably wanting to make this improvement to save money. And I feel in my naive position that homeowners feel really understood off the bat. They don't have to explain so much or, be defensive. They can say, oh, yes, that's exactly why I'm coming to you. Thank you so much. We're on the same page for motivation and understanding price point cost and moving forward.
And that's a great point, Cassie. The thing that I gleaned from that was similar. It's the educational portion. I think what I love so much about working for Modernize is that we do so much to provide a homeowner that's a little bit better educated to our contractors, right? What stuck out to me was the 81% of homeowners that are expecting to budget less than $10,000 for a project. So homeowner myself, I know that is like aspirational. That is not as realistic. There's very little jobs that you can get done for the quality and workmanship that you want, for the value that you want for $10,000. And so if I'm a contractor and I'm looking at that stat, I'm probably thinking, well, I'm probably going to have to go in and do a little bit more education in the beginning and really provide an example of the value that we're going to be able to provide to this homeowner. Because, if they want just that chuck in the truck that's going to undercut everybody's price and they're going to get the quality to go along with it, they should know about that. And, that's not who we are potentially. Most of the contractors I work with, they're not that lowest price solution. They are the folks that are providing that exceptional value. That's typically why they work with us, right?
But I'm gonna add a slightly different angle than that, Dom, too. Is like I don't always think the naiveness in price is because they're looking for a chuck in a truck. There's a naiveness in price because you don't know the price until you've done the project before. I mean, you know that. I know you do projects on your house. I get bids all the time for projects on my house. I got one the other day that just blew my mind, but I have a reference point of 0. So I think there is an education component for contractors to look at that. If your average job size is significantly higher than that, then maybe there's some more education in there. But I also think too that there's a great opportunity to lean in and say, how can I make it financially easier for a contractor, right? Or for a homeowner? Like how do I make that process if they can't spend $30,000 on the project, they're expecting 10, could we do a deposit? Could we finance some? Like how do we make that process seem easier and more attainable? And so I think there's some opportunities in that along with the education part.
I would agree with both of you, and it really sets us up nicely for like the conversation that will unfold, because we're seeing some interesting trends with homeowners researching and that they aren't budgeting, which has been a big challenge, especially for our large scale exterior trades, like for as long as I've been at Modernize, because a lot of these are sometimes once in a lifetime projects. We have roofing as like a real outlier in our trades as we look at this data. And it's because there are homeowners that might do 1 roof replacement, might do 2 roof replacements in their whole life. And so I think they come in really stressed, unsure how they should budget, unsure the right questions to ask. And again, I think we come at it at this angle to prepare a contractor, especially in, again, let's say the roofing trade, to say you have a bunch of stressed out, over-researched homeowners who need reassurance. That's going to be like a really strong competitive advantage.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you make too. I don't hear as much about how to communicate and develop a sense of ease with homeowners. And you're right, like it's super stressful, right? You get a price tag on a project that's 50% more than you thought, and we're talking 5,000, let alone 10, 20,000. Especially if it's a project you feel that's a necessity, like an AC unit or something like that. You might be wondering like, damn, I need this, but how am I going to afford it? So you definitely need someone that has that therapist type feel to them, if you will, more consultative. So good point on that.
Yeah, I would say also too, I mean, can you talk about in the data that you have, like budgeting is usually stressful for homeowners, right? I mean, do we have data specifically kind of on how we ease those fears? That contractors can leverage to ease those fears at least.
Yes, we actually have a lot of, I think, fabulous resources that we've been building on modernize.com/ pros, specifically on how to like talk to homeowners, ease homeowner fears, especially during this like really difficult time for the pandemic. And to even jump ahead, let's talk about stress for a second if you want. So even we'll go back to researching and planning, happy to cover that too. But with all of our resources, in research, homeowners are more stressed than they were last year. And that's a little bit unsurprising for us, right? That makes sense. It's been an incredibly challenging year for everyone. So 35% of our homeowners across trades said they feel stressed ahead of their upcoming project. That's the number one emotion that they're coming to the table with. And this was comparatively 27% felt stressed pre-pandemic. Roofing again is our outlier trade. I'm really fascinated by them. My goal is to just continue to create reassuring homeowner resources to tackle that side. But 42% of homeowners who are pursuing roofing projects feel really stressed. And so I think as a contractor and a professional, and again, Chris and Dom, this is where your expertise comes into, I think it is understanding that first call, that first touch you have, that this homeowner is not excited. They're not, looking forward to necessarily what's to come, and kind of balancing that to say, like, I know you're really stressed as a homeowner, and also this is the potential that your project holds. There is energy efficient benefits to a new roof. It increases the value of your home. I think that sets up a really fantastic first meeting.
Yeah, you know what helps with that? Financing.
Yes.
Right? So talk to me a little bit about that aspect of it. Are homeowners, are we seeing an increase in finance jobs, or how does that look?
So talking about financing, we've discussed in the past, I've been honored to be part of conversations and webinars about where offering financing can be a real competitive advantage for professionals. And we continue to see this from homeowners to support that. So 77% of homeowners surveyed, again, we're talking about 20,000 homeowners, want to fund some, if not all, of their project. And that's huge. That's the vast majority. It's really important, especially as we work our way backwards, like through this data, and talk about how homeowners aren't budgeting. If they are, they're using cost calculators. They need to talk to professionals to really understand the scope of their project, what is going on with their climate, what materials are best for them, the energy efficiency properties. And I think that sets up for a good conversation. When you can offer financing, you're going to secure that deal. Talking about money, what I also have noted for like this kind of section is Modernize. One of our real advantages is we understand homeowner motivations. I'm going to wax poetic on this for a second. So every piece of content we author comes in through a lens of a specific homeowner motivation. They're either dealing with an emergency, they're trying to increase the value of their home, they want to save money. And this year we finally polled them on this in this like vast form. And so we learned 40% of homeowners across trades are pursuing projects with us actively to save money on their utility and electric bills every month. Again, very money motivated. I feel like as a professional, if you're able to share how your business and how the brands you partner with can help homeowners save money and with these energy efficient properties, you're going to secure these deals. And also on home value, 20% of homeowners that we surveyed are trying to increase the value of their home. And I think that's really important too for contractors to know. They might not want to sell their home tomorrow, but they want to invest in their home because they know the potential. And that means, again, going with the best professional for their project, investing in the best materials. This isn't necessarily like slap a roof on, to use that example, and go. They want something that will last.
I think this is great. What really stood out to me in this particular part here is that, and I'm going to kind of like tie the previous section together too, because, Dom knows me, I love the topic of communication. When you're meeting with a homeowner, I think this gives you a specific lens to look through, that you understand that there might be more of a financing opportunity with more homeowners. But what this really reminds me of is like, you have to spend time and listen to what their needs are. I mean, we've all been there with a contractor where they're not quite listening to what we're saying. Maybe we're saying it's for, to the survey's point, we're doing it to lower our bills, or maybe we're doing to raise the value of our house. But it's really important for a contractor to capture what those needs are. I'm not saying you got to go 3 layers deep with that and stab their why until they cry. But what I am saying is, like, ask questions, pay attention, find out what's exactly motivating the need of the project, and then try to sell to that. Because if you find out that, like, hey, they actually do need to finance that, then, like, you got to make that process as easy as possible for your business. If you come to find out that they're looking, the listening part of it is so important to make sure that you're selling appropriately. And I think that's really missed with contractors, where they're trying to push one part. I remember when I was getting a solar estimate, I was so interested in exactly what your survey. I was looking more from the economics of it. And I didn't care whether I was using the top of the line inverter. I mean, I cared, but I didn't care about the product. I cared about, does it economically make sense, and does it look decent on my house? Really naive. Like, I was picking them out because they were cool looking shoes or something. But the point is one of the companies I was dealing with was only selling the product to me. Like, he wasn't listening to what I was trying to figure out, and he missed the mark. He just kept coming at me with product. Whereas another person heard what I was saying, and they're like, yeah, so you're getting a hot tub next year, so we want to factor that in because you want. And, like, I was like, this person's hearing me. Like, this is great. So I think it's such a good reminder to, teach your salespeople to listen to the homeowners, even if you suspect they may be heading down a particular path.
This is real cheesy, but I think of it like a love language, and it's kind of figuring out how people respond best. And for homeowners, it's really like a finite list of reasons they're pursuing a project. They're not doing a new roof replacement or a new HVAC replacement because it seems like a good idea on a Tuesday. And I think once you identify that language, which is usually pretty easy, and I like to think Modernize can help, with data like this, it's really going to set you up for success from that very first interaction. Even if it's like keeping up with the Joneses, and I hope professionals can leverage it and say, hey, we know 40% of homeowners right now are trying to save money on their utility bills. That's what we specialize in. We're solar. We want to help you save money. This is how we can best do it. And that homeowner is going to be thrilled and a lot less stressed.
Yeah, you know what I always say, Cassie, is, and I say this to my team, is got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? So use those ears, right? My 2 ears want to hear a little bit more about interior trades. Historically, Modernize has been really focused on energy efficiency trades. We haven't done a lot of the bath remodelings, the kitchens. I know a little inside baseball because my wife is in real estate. I know that the bath and the kitchens, they're pretty hot, and they add a little bit of value to your house. So do we have any data? Have we started to unpack that?
We do, Dom, and thank you for setting me up for that. So historically, Modernize has been these large exterior projects, and with the explosive growth being acquired by Quinn Street this year, we now serve so many more trades. And so for me coming into this survey and this year looking at data, I was like, we need to find out how homeowner preferences for remodelers is coming into play with this. So I have a couple of stats for you. So in addition to upcoming large-scale projects with Modernize, 31% of homeowners plan to pursue an indoor remodeling project in 2021. The highest of that obviously being bathroom remodel and kitchen remodel, which are just so appealing, have such high home value, resale value. The majority of homeowners in this survey hope to keep their budgets conservative, which we just kind of talked about, maybe requires a little bit of education. But 17% said they plan to spend more than $10,000, which again, really promising. We want to drive homeowners to invest. And for selecting a remodeler, we ask extensive questions around this for contractor, which I know we'll talk about. But we want to see how that compared to interior trades. And so 50% to find a remodeler, 50% of homeowners said they're going to turn to friends and families for recommendation. And that kind of makes sense, right? Especially with the boom right now, they're probably going to call up someone in their family or a neighbor and say, I loved what you just did. Can you give me that name? 10% of homeowners said they're going to turn to sites like us, like they're going to come back to Modernize to find a great quote, compare quotes, and find a professional for their project. We also asked homeowners in the same survey what they care most about when they're vetting professionals. And the majority of homeowners here looking for a remodeler for their project care about online ratings and reviews, which we do a lot of content around, both how to gather them, how to offer referrals, and manage reviews online if you're a contractor.
We had a gentleman on that talked specifically on referrals, and I thought that was just the biggest area of misses that our contractors, typically just kind of glean over. And we're in the stats. We're saying 53% up from around 40% last year are getting referrals. I guess contractors, if your referral game isn't tight, let's go here.
I would agree. Referrals are hot right now, and I think it's really important to build that relationship with a homeowner, because when what we see, they're going to be your best spokesperson, and recommend you to other homeowners in the area and in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be a repeat of something I said on a previous podcast here, but I am just mind blown when it comes to referrals. Like, I won't use the guy in my local town, but I would just challenge anybody that listens to this, just ask yourself, do you have a standard process you follow for capturing referrals? Does not have to be perfect, but do you just have a process? And if you pass that check, then I would say your second check is, do you audit your process? And if you have those two things in place, then you can make incremental improvements over time. But let's just be honest. It costs a lot of money to market your company. It costs a lot of money to develop a new customer. That's true in every industry out there. It's a lot to build trust with a person. But damn, if you do a good job, the next customer is so much easier. They'll spend more money with you. The velocity of the deal will go faster. They're easier people to deal with. But you're already doing what most contractors are good at, which is the work. So the easy part after all that hard work of getting the customer and doing all the work is just send a goddamn thank you note. You know what I mean? Say like, hey, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, year anniversary of our project. Like, just stay, in their mind. And I think if you do that and have some sort of system, it will evolve over time. And then the hope is, that for every one job you do, you get one plus in return. And that's really how you scale your business.
Yeah, we had Jamie Vonback on, and he was from Get the Referral, and that was a phenomenal episode. So if you haven't heard that episode, you should definitely listen to that one. But I just love how we can bring someone with such great insight like Cassie on the program here, that, being the data nerd that I am, that reinforces our intuition and our experience with that concrete data. I mean, 40,000 plus data points, that ain't lying. So get your referral and get it and keep getting it, right? Cassie, we're coming up, I think, towards the end of our time here. So I wanted to ask you maybe a little curveball, but out of all of this insight and all that's happening in the industry right now, I mean, what makes you most excited? I mean, you're usually excited, but you seem to be a little bit supercharged these days. So what's driving you along?
That is a great question, Dom. And again, feel free to lead me where you need to. So I come from a writing background. I come from a journalism background. I love asking people questions. I love creating the right resources for them, which is why Modernize has just been like such a perfect career fit for me. And so marrying all this together, serving homeowners and finding out their challenges and pain points, because what's working for them is going to keep working for them. I want to find out where it hurts. And budgeting has been forever a pain point for our homeowners. And so 77% of homeowners this year in this survey said they have not created a budget ahead of coming to their projects, ahead of coming to Modernize for their projects. This is in line with what we saw in 2020, where 79% said they hadn't created a budget. And I think for contractors, for us internally, that like makes us gasp, right? Like, it's like, oh my gosh, like, how do you not have any idea? And I have the absolute joy of also working on Modernize's cost calculators. And so what I'm most passionate about is really solving that problem. So when homeowners come to us, they're doing their research and they're able to find out ballpark pricing. And it's accurate. We have like zip multipliers. But to find out closer where they should be and at least begin that conversation confidently with their contractor is my goal, and what gets me excited literally every day, because I want to see that number go down. I want to continue serving homeowners year over year. And I want it to be like 50% have created a budget, 50% are using online tools and talking to friends and family, because I think that sets everyone up for success. Most importantly being our really talented contractors and remodelers who have the really challenging job of saying, your project's going to cost X because you need demolition, or you have mold around your windows, or you should really go with a metal roof for your climate to save money on your utility bills. And those are, I think, difficult conversations to navigate when the homeowner doesn't have something at least in mind to kick off that conversation.
Absolutely, Cassie. And I'll tell you a little story before we go here. So I'm getting my windows replaced right now in my house. And I'm using a local company. Well, not local, but they're local to the state of Texas. You would know if you heard of them. So the window salesman came in, and we're starting the rapport building aspect of the conversation. And he talked about, he's like, "Hey, where do you work?" And I'm like, "I'm director of account management for Modernize." He's like, "Oh, Modernize. We run your leads all the time. We love your leads." And I'm like, he's just messing with me right now. I'm like, "All right, so yeah, why do you love our leads?" And he said, no lie, and I'm not just patting ourselves on the back here, because I am really excited about what we do and what you do. But he said, "I love your leads because you provide a homeowner that's better educated than some other sources that we use." And, I thought of you, I thought of Jamie, I thought of all the product team, and it just made me smile. And it made me kind of want to buy from him, to be honest with you. So I think what you guys are doing is definitely, it's helping the industry move along here. It's helping homeowners. As a homeowner myself, I know that it's super important to really be educated and do the right thing for yourself and for your family. This is a lot of money that we spend here. So that's my little anecdote for today. But,
no greater compliment. My feet aren't going to touch the ground for, till Monday.
There you go.
And there was 2 lessons in there. If you guys didn't catch it, there was the flattery does work as a salesperson if you're in construction. So if you meet somebody, just give them a little bit of flattery and you'll get those big ticket items. So pay attention.
That is right. So I think that's about all we have. Yeah. Was there anything we missed here, Cassie?
I'm going to tell our partners and listeners where they can find all these stats and more. Because I feel like we just touched the tip of this iceberg, which was the goal. But we publish all these stats that I shared today and more in a colorful, easy to digest, really graphic asset. We call it an ebook. I want to stress this is free for all professionals. This is free for everyone. Our goal as Modernize is to share these stats and sentiments so professionals can make better business decisions for their business. And that goes for their marketing team, sales teams, understanding homeowner needs. So this asset is available for download, available for free. We're going to continue to create them and compare survey over survey, and they can find it at modernize.com/pros.
Well, awesome. Well, I would urge everybody listening here to go check that out, see the beautiful work that Cassie's done in conjunction with our team behind the scenes. But Cassie, thanks again for coming on here and providing these insights. It's incredible. I love what you're doing. So keep up the great work here.
Thank you so much for having me. It is literally a joy to talk about this, and probably also worth saying, chop it if you need to, but if we have a partner or someone internally who has a question that they're noodling on and need data, talk to their account managers, and I'm happy to run. If you have a hypothesis or trying to figure something out with homeowners, that's really, I think, my strength to be able to collect that data and report back.
Oh, I love that. Be careful what you wish for. I will send my account managers to you. Well, cool. Well, that's about it for us. But before we go here, I got to say, thanks for listening to Built Better, and show us some love by leaving us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. See you next time.